The series began with a dangerous gang attacking a family living in a secret place, wanting to finish them off. And we learned that this family had supernatural abilities and could control their spiritual energy, but they used it for good, and the father was forced to use his magical power to try to defend himself. And he attacked the gang members, alone because he was strong, and he succeeded in defeating a large number of them. But unfortunately, the gang managed to catch his wife and finished her off right before his eyes, and they also took his son with them. And the gang leader arrived while laughing continuously, and we learned that he also had magical power, and he threatened him that he would finish off his son, asking him to surrender and promising that he would leave him alive. And because the father was kind, he believed his words, returned to his normal state, and decided to deactivate his power. But the leader betrayed him and kept talking to him to distract him, and suddenly one of the gang members attacked him from his back with a magic sword, finishing him off, and the father was surprised and critically injured, falling to the ground in pain. And before he died, he spoke to his son via telepathy and asked him to flee from the place. So the son listened and decided to use his magical power, controlling the guard who kidnapped him, and he succeeded in hypnotizing him. He seized the opportunity, left him, and exited the room, after which the guard woke up and was surprised that the hero disappeared from in front of him. So he went to look for him with the gang members, chasing him with dogs, and he kept running from them at maximum speed until he reached the forest, and luckily he managed to escape from them, and they could not find him. And news of what happened reached the leader of the gang, and he got scared because this boy might return to take revenge on him. So he got angry and finished off the guard to punish him, although I do not understand where the punishment is in that, considering he just obliterated him. And after that, the boy reached a safe place, and we learned that his name was Young, and his superpower was reading thoughts and hypnosis. And he remembered what happened to his family, how they died before his eyes while they were trying to save him, and he got angry and decided to train, as he had to increase his power to take revenge on the gang. One day, while walking in the street, he met an orphan child who could not speak, and he was surprised that his power increased when she got close to him. So he tried to read her thoughts while she slept, but could not. And he was astonished, as it was the first time this happened to him. So surely this girl had a secret behind her that he could benefit from, but he felt sorry for her because she had no one. So he decided to keep her with him and consider her his little sister. And because she did not speak, he was not sure of her name, so he decided to name her She after his mother, who died, and the child rejoiced and thanked him. From that time, the two lived together, and they were forced to work any job to bring money to eat, to the extent that they collected plastic bottles and sold them to the supermarket. And one day, Young saw an advertisement on television and learned that a magical stone belonging to his family would be sold at an auction, so he decided to go buy it. But when he arrived, the manager did not agree to let him participate because he thought he was a poor young man and asked him to leave the place, but Young refused and decided to use his magical power once again and controlled his mind, succeeding in controlling him, forcing him to execute all his orders, making him serve him and bring him a glass of water. And the manager was surprised by what happened and confirmed that he was not a normal young man, knowing that he was from the family of superhumans that died. And he apologized to him, but warned him that his life was now in danger because the gang leader was surely looking for him. But Young was not afraid of his words and told him that he also wanted to meet him, to take revenge on him for all he did to his family. So he left him and went to buy the magic stone before it was sold. But suddenly a girl arrived, beautiful, named Jenny, and she preceded him and bought the stone for a lot of money. And Young got angry that she ruined his plan, so he decided to use his power on her and kept following her, trying to control her mind. But he was surprised that there was a magic barrier protecting her, and he knew she was not a normal girl, so he thought of another plan and asked the child to pretend she was lost to deceive her. And indeed, Jenny saw her and went to help her immediately. And Young seized the opportunity and tried to attack her from her back, but suddenly a magical shadow appeared, defending her, and Jenny laughed and turned around to arrest Young. But she was surprised when she saw him, and it turned out that the two knew each other, and she asked him where he had been all the past years because she searched for him a lot. So he informed her that his family all died and he had to take revenge for them, and he took the magic stone from her and used it to increase his spiritual power. And Jenny was impressed by what she saw, so she offered for him to come with her to the house, and she would help him find the rest of his family's stones. And Young agreed because he had no other solution at that time. And the gang leader learned from his assistant that someone bought the magic stone from the auction, and he got angry because he wanted to possess it. He used his power and lifted the assistant into the air, throwing him far away, and asked him to take all the guards and go look for Young because he was the only one who could know the location of the rest of the magic stones. Then Jenny took our hero with her and went to the meeting where all the heads of the famous families attended, and she introduced introduced them to Young, but of course, no one believed yet that he was alive because all his family died. A woman named Sarah decided to give him a test to make sure he was really the son of the family, so she held a gun and removed all bullets from it except one, pointing it towards him and telling him there was one bullet and he had to avoid it, and Young remained sitting in front of her, confident in himself, and he decided to use his supernatural power and started reading her thoughts. And when he knew that the bullet was about to exit, he grabbed the gun with his hand and directed it towards the ceiling just as she fired. And indeed, it came out, and everyone was dazzled by what they saw, knowing he was not a normal young man. And Sarah rejoiced and confirmed that he was Young, so she took him to speak with him alone and blamed him for being missing the past period because she was worried about him, and she offered for him to live with her and she would help him, but he refused because he wanted to take revenge for his family on the gang. But he wanted some information from her first and learned from her the location of the person who sold the stone in the auction and decided to go meet him. So he left them and walked, and at that time the leader's assistant kidnapped the manager of the auction and kept torturing him to tell him who sold the magic stone, hanging him by his feet and threatening him to confess everything or else he would finish him off. And the manager got scared and was forced to tell him, and after that, Young arrived to the person who sold the stone in the auction and was surprised that he was his family's cook. So he got angry, kidnapped him, and took him to a desolate place, asking him where he got the stone from, and the cook refused to talk, but Young threatened him to tell him the truth, or else he would use his power on him. And the cook got scared and decided to tell him everything, informing him that he was asleep on the day the gang attacked his family, and when he woke up, he found them all dead, so he got scared and was forced to steal the stones and flee from the house, and he kept gambling with them until he lost them all, and Young got angry and asked him who killed his father, and the cook at that time tried to remember and told him that he was a guard who looked strange and had magical powers, and his hand turned into a sword, and suddenly he screamed, and they knew that. This guard was standing behind him now, and immediately our hero turned his face and avoided the attack that was coming to him at the appropriate time and fought with him to defend himself. But the guard had unnatural power, attacking him with the sword, but the blow hit the cook, and he was the one who died, and Young disappeared and seized the opportunity, taking the girl and running, and the guard kept chasing him. He was about to catch him, but our hero used his power and controlled the people walking in the street, and tried to make them hinder the guard, and his plan succeeded. But he entered a dead end without noticing, and the guard arrived and besieged him while laughing, and Young tried to use his magical power on him, but he failed, and the guard approached him deciding to arrest him, and the child was forced to bite him to draw his attention. But the guard got angry and pushed her, and because of that she fainted, and when Young tried to save her, the guard hit him and knocked him down, and he also approached him to arrest him, and luckily Jenny and Sarah arrived at the appropriate time and shot at him with the gun, but he was not affected and threatened Young with the sword and warned them that if they approached him, he would finish him off. And Jenny decided here to use her magic shadow and made it appear from behind the guard, attacking him, and a violent battle happened between them, and the two tried to hit each other, but the magic shadow kept disappearing and appearing from his back, and every time it succeeded in defeating him, knocking him to the ground, and they arrested him. And after that, Young went with Jenny and Sarah to the house, telling them that he lived a hard life with the girl because he did not have money. And this girl put up with him, considering him her brother, and he was also stealing food from the supermarket to live. But after that, he felt remorse and decided to use his power for good, and Jenny learned how. Much he suffered and sympathized with him, promising him to stand by him until he increased his power and took revenge on the gang. But Sarah asked to speak with him alone and informed him that the gang leader was a dangerous person whom everyone feared, telling him that he was collecting magic stones to possess their power, wanting to control the world, and that Young was the only one who could prevent him. And Young decided to do so to take revenge for his family. But suddenly the servant entered and told them that the guard escaped, and we learned that the guard decided to sacrifice his hands to be able to escape from prison and went to the gang leader so he could treat him, and the leader put his hand on his head pretending he would help him, but sucked his spiritual energy and finished him off because he failed in the mission, and the leader's assistant got scared of him. But the leader shocked him, telling him to go look for Young and arrest him at the earliest opportunity. So this meant if he failed, he would join the man who died a little while ago, and at that time we see our hero reading an old book to increase his power, and suddenly Jenny entered the room on him, telling him that she admired him and tried to get close to him, and Young was astonished by her behavior because it was impossible for Jenny to do that. And suddenly Sarah also entered looking strange, and Young suspected them using his supernatural power, but when he read their thoughts, he was surprised that they had no brains, meaning they were not human and resembled zombies. So he got scared and tried to escape from them. And luckily, Jenny and Sarah arrived at the appropriate time and shot them with the gun, finishing them off. And Young was shocked by what happened and did not understand how at all. And he learned from them that these were magical statues. And he worried about the child and went to check on her but did not find her. And he saw a message and learned that a magician kidnapped her. And at that time, the magician took her to Young's old house and locked her in it, and he did that to lure Young to him. And indeed, Young did not wait and was forced to go to save the child. And he and Jenny split up too. Look for her everywhere, but when he arrived, he found his nanny waiting for him, welcoming him, and telling him that his father and mother were worried about him. And Young was astonished because they died, understanding nothing. And when he entered the house, he found them, celebrating his birthday, and he was moved because he missed them and kept crying. And Jenny arrived and informed him that all this was not real and that it was just an illusion from magic, and surely the magician was the reason. And Sarah tried to shoot the statues to cancel the spell, but Young used his supernatural power on her and prevented her, saying he wanted to see his father and mother more and more. And Sarah got upset by his words because he did not believe her. So she left the house and went out, standing in front of the lake, sad because she admired him and he did not feel for her. But suddenly he went after her and apologized to her, telling her that he read her thoughts and knew she loved him, thanking her for caring about him, and confessed to her that he also admired her, approaching her romantically to hug her. And suddenly Jenny came from behind him wanting to strangle her. But Sarah sensed her and shot her with the gun. And it turned out she knew from the start that they were magical statues wanting to deceive her, and she approached Young laughing, telling him that the real Young was not easy like that, finishing him off. And after that, our hero saw how it happened on the day of his family's death and was surprised that his father and mother were in front of the gang leader crying, asking him to leave them alive. And he got angry because this was what happened. And he knew that the magician was the one who created this illusion. So he called out to him and challenged him to appear. And indeed, the magician arrived while laughing continuously. And Young was surprised when he saw him. And it turned out he was the son of, and he knew that he was the one who told the gang leader about his family's location to finish them off. And he asked him why he did that. And the magician decided to tell him everything, remembering a flashback. And we learned that he wanted to steal magical stones, but Young's father saw him and got angry, deciding to kick him out of the house. And the nanny kept crying and begged him to forgive him. And when he refused, she felt guilty and decided to fly. And Young's father tried to save her life, but unfortunately failed. And from that time, the magician held a grudge against him, and for that he decided to take revenge on him and went to the gang leader, giving him the map of the house. And in return, he took from him a magical stone and possessed spiritual power. And he woke from his memories, threatening Young that he would finish off the girl. Young got angry and tried to save her, but the magician controlled the statues and made them all hit Jenny and arrest him. And he laughed, deciding to finish off the girl before his eyes. And luckily, Sarah arrived at the appropriate time and shot the statues, asking them to surrender. And the magician pretended to be afraid, releasing the girl and letting her go to her. But unfortunately, it turned out the girl was also a statue and stabbed Sarah from her back, and she was critically injured. And Young was surprised, running to check on her and hugging her to calm her down. But she apologized to him that she could not protect him, asking him to use all his power to defeat the magician, and she fainted. Young got angry and lost control of himself, and suddenly his eyes changed, becoming blue, and great magical energy came out of him, deciding to use all his power against the magician, attacking him and succeeding in breaking his facial bones, breaking the protection barrier easily, and also destroying his statues, controlling his mind and starting to control him, forcing him to hurt himself more than once until he defeated him, knocking him to the ground. But he was unable to finish him off because that was not Young's nature. So he left him and went to check on Jenny and Sarah, deciding to treat them with his spiritual power. And the magician got angry that he was defeated in front of him and told him, "I do not want you to pity me," asking him to end his life and relieve him from his agony. And suddenly the gang leader arrived at the place, and the magician thought he came to help him. So he approached him to treat him, but the leader betrayed him and made the guards finish him off. And the magician was surprised by what happened, knowing he was wrong to trust him. And he looked at Young and remembered his memories with him when they were children, as the two were friends. And he regretted betraying him because he treated him well and considered him like a brother. So he apologized to him and asked him to forgive him. But unfortunately, he died, and Young got angry at what happened and decided to take revenge on the leader. So he used his power and tried to attack him. But the leader possessed unnatural power, as he had acquired many magic stones, and because of that, he had more power than Young and blocked his strike easily, casting a dark spell on him and strangling him until he fainted. And he decided to kidnap him him to absorb his energy, ordering the guards to take him with them. But luckily, Jenny's mother arrived at the appropriate time and kept them away from him, warning them that if anyone approached him, she would make them regret it. And the guard thought she was an old woman and tried to hit her. Poor guy did not know she was. Ruthless and had atomic power, and she used her ability to control the wind, lifting him into the air and finishing him off. And the leader got angry that she ruined his plan, so he ordered his strongest guard to attack her. But suddenly, Sarah's uncle also arrived and stood in front of her, asking her to allow him to fight in her place. And he held the spear and used his skills, hitting the guard and defeating him, breaking his facial bones and sending him to his father, creating a barrier of fire and warning the rest of the guards that if they approached him, he would finish them off. And the gang leader feared their power and knew he could not defeat them, so he told them they would meet again and left them and walked away. Jenny's mother decided to take her daughter to treat her, leaving the place, and Sarah's uncle was forced to take Young and Sarah with him. And at that time, the leader's assistant took his men and attacked Sarah's guards to finish them off. And although he was a handsome young man, he was a psycho with no mercy, defeating the last one himself, breaking his facial bones, deciding to kidnap him. And he wrote a message to Sarah warning her to stay out of his way or he would make her regret it. And the next day, Jenny woke up from sleep finding herself locked in her room and asked her mother to open the door for her. But she refused because she knew if her daughter went out, she would go look for her sweetheart and expose her life to danger. So she tried to lie to her, telling her that he was a fraud and that she never loved him and wanted her to leave him. But Jenny was not convinced by her mother's words and informed her that she was sure Young had supernatural abilities and could read thoughts. And she insisted on going to help him. And after that, Young, while sleeping, dreamed of his father and mother and cried when he saw them because he missed them. But they reassured him that they were always beside him and informed him that he had to increase his magical power to be able to defeat the gang leader. And Young promised them he would do that. And when he woke up, he was surprised that Sarah was sleeping next to him and understood the matter wrongly, thinking he was a pervert. So she slapped him on the face, and Young tried to defend himself, telling her he woke up and found himself there, just like her. So Sarah knew that her uncle was the one who did that, and she took him and went to him to yell at him, but he laughed and told her she should thank him as he knew she admired him, and she felt embarrassed and was about to hit him. But suddenly the servant entered and informed her that the gang defeated her guards, and she was surprised and took Young, going there to help them. But when she arrived, she was shocked that all of them unfortunately died. So she collapsed and kept calling out to them while crying. And Young felt sorry for her and tried to comfort her, but she blamed him because he was the reason. So he felt guilty and decided to take revenge for them, reviewing the surveillance cameras and seeing the psycho assistant standing and laughing because he kidnapped her friend. So Sarah got angry and wanted to go save him, but Young stopped her because she would not be able to defeat the gang alone. And he took her and went to Jenny to ask for her help, but the guards refused to let them in because her mother ordered that, and Sarah prepared to fight them. But Young stopped her and used his power at that time, hypnotizing them and controlling them, succeeding in entering the house without anyone seeing him. And as long as he walked, he kept controlling the servants so no one would see him. And he reached the room where Jenny was locked, but he learned it was locked and her mother was the only one with the key. And Sarah got angry and wanted to break the door, but Young prevented her because if she did that, the guards would know their location, and they kept thinking of a way to get the girl used her hairpin and opened the door easily, wondering why they made such a big deal out of it. The matter was not big, but easy for her, meaning everyone was surprised by the little girl's intelligence, and they took Jenny and walked away. And after that, her mother discovered that she escaped and reviewed the surveillance cameras, seeing Young controlling the guards with his supernatural power. And at that time, she believed Jenny's words and knew that he was not a normal young man. And suddenly, she received a call from the leader of the gang asking her to hand Young over to him, or else he would be forced to enter a war against her. But she said that she did not know his location, hanging up the phone in his face, and the leader got angry and did not believe her, asking his assistant to look for him. And after that, Jenny's mother knew that they were hiding in Sarah's uncle's house and decided to go to warn them about the gang leader. And when she arrived, the guards tried to stop her, but she got angry. And at that time, she finally used her power, and everyone feared her, allowing her to enter, finding her brother sitting alone. And she asked him where Jenny and Young were. So he told her that they fled from the house and he did not know their location, informing her that they were no longer young, asking her to trust them and leave them to do as they pleased. But she refused because she was afraid for them, remaining determined to protect them from the gang leader because he was a dangerous person, asking him to inform her immediately if he knew their location. And she left him and walked away. And at that time we see Young and Jenny sitting in a hotel thinking together how to defeat the gang leader, and Jenny was astonished because the leader was supposed to be old, but his appearance had not changed for years, and he was still young just as he was. And Young was surprised by what he heard, knowing that he absorbed the energy of the magic stones because he wanted to remain an immortal person, and he decided to go to the gang's hideout to steal the stones from him. But he was worried about the girl and did not want to take her with him, and Sarah suggested he use his power and hypnotize her. But he informed her that he tried with her more than once, but his power did not work on her. So she decided to enter and put her to sleep herself, turning off the television and asking her to sleep. But the child got upset and kept crying in a loud voice. So Sarah told her she was wrong and apologized to her, turning it on, again leaving her and going out frustrated. And Jenny mocked her and entered to try herself. And indeed, she was able to put her to sleep easily, and Sarah felt jealousy, but they rejoiced that they succeeded first. And after that, the three of them decided to go execute the mission, hiding in the vehicle that transported the magic stones, arriving at the gang's headquarters. But suddenly Jenny's mobile rang and the guard heard the sound, knowing that someone was hiding in the vehicle. So he opened the door to arrest him, and luckily Young used his power at the appropriate time, controlling the guard's mind and making him not see any of them, succeeding in entering the hideout. But he felt that there were many guards in the place and agreed with Jenny and Sarah to split up. And before walking, he decided to use his power on them, telling them to come close to him, putting his head next to their heads and distributing his magical energy to them, informing them that he left a mark on each, one to communicate with them and determine their location at any time if anyone felt in danger. And they were dazzled by his power and method, reassured that they were safe, and decided to split up. And at that time, Jenny's mother went to meet the gang leader, bringing him a gift of a rare magic stone she had kept in exchange for him not hurting her daughter. And the leader rejoiced, absorbing its energy and increasing his power, agreeing to her request on the condition that she did not try to stand in his way. And after that, our heroes kept walking in the gang's hideout, and suddenly Jenny met one of the guards. But she used her magic shadow, succeeding in defeating him easily. And in the other direction, Sarah also defeated the guards she met because she was brave and professional in martial arts, continuing her path until she found her friend who was kidnapped, running to him to free him. But he was injured, and when he woke up, he asked her to flee quickly, and Young felt that she was in danger, informing her that a strong guard was approaching her. And Sarah tried to look for him, but did not see him. And suddenly the guard appeared from her back, knocking her to the ground and laughing. And we learned that he had magical power as he disappeared. And at the same time, Jenny felt that someone was very close, and a guard appeared before her, wearing glasses, and she knew he was blind, deciding to make the magic shadow attack him. But he blocked the strike easily, and Jenny was surprised how he saw him, trying to hide from him. But he knew her location and approached her, getting scared and feeling that her end was near, closing her eyes. But when she opened them, she was surprised that someone defeated the guard. So she wondered and did not know who helped her. And after that, Sarah tried to escape from the guard who kept disappearing every little while. But he was stronger than her and grabbed her by her neck, strangling her with all his power, and she could not breathe, feeling this was her end. But her friend freed himself at the appropriate time, attacking the guard and pushing him away from her, asking her to seize the opportunity and flee. But she decided not to surrender and shot at him with her gun. But unfortunately, her friend was critically injured and fell to the ground, and Sarah ran to him to save him. But he apologized to her that he could not protect her, asking her to take revenge on the gang, and he died. And after that, Young tried to communicate with them, but noticed his power disappeared, and suddenly the psycho appeared before him, laughing constantly and telling him that my power lets me cancel the supernatural abilities of anyone close to me, which was why I could defeat your father. And Young got scared and decided to flee from the place, gathering with Jenny and Sarah, telling them they had to leave quickly. But the gang surrounded them, and it seemed they reached the end, and the psycho approached them laughing, informing them this was their end. But Jenny tried to attack him with her shadow, and the psycho used his power, canceling her ability, ordering the guards to finish them off. But suddenly the girl with Young arrived at the place. Her appearance changed, with long hair, sitting on the ground crying, and the guards were astonished and approached her. But she suddenly screamed in a loud voice, and the guards could not bear the sound, falling all to the ground. And Young was surprised by what happened, and the child approached him, and for the first time she could speak, calling him by his name, and she fainted. And the psycho woke up knowing the child was dangerous and decided to finish her off. But Young refused and decided to protect her at any cost, closing his eyes, trying to gather all his power and energy. And because the child was close to him, his power increased, and he succeeded in stopping the psycho, controlling him and paralyzing his movement, telling him he who plays with the wolf deserves torture, hitting him and breaking his facial bones, deciding to finish him off. But suddenly a masked woman arrived and prevented him, taking the psycho psycho with her and disappearing from the place, transporting at once to the gang leader. And when she removed the mask, it turned out she was Jenny's mother, and we learned she was the one who defeated the blind guard, asking the leader to fulfill his promise to her and stay away from Jenny. But he laughed and told her, "I know Jenny is not your daughter," and we see a flashback from 20 years ago, learning she was working as a maid for Jenny's family, and one day she entered the house and was surprised that Jenny's father was hitting her mother at that time because he wanted a boy, and the maid was forced to defend her, lifting him into the air and finishing him off. But Jenny's mother could not bear what happened and decided to also jump, and the maid was forced to impersonate her to raise Jenny, and she woke from her memories. And the gang leader threatened her that he would tell Jenny she was not her real mother, and also was the reason for her family's death. And after that, our heroes returned to the hotel, taking the child with them to treat her. And Young was worried about her because she was still sleeping, but Jenny reassured him she needed to rest a little because of the energy she drained and would be fine. And Young felt guilty because he exposed her to danger and decided to take her to the hospital to examine her, trying to open the door, but was surprised that the child locked herself in, thinking he was afraid of her because he saw her true form, apologizing to him that she caused him problems, deciding to leave him and walk away. And Young got upset by her words, remembering his memories with her and the hard moments they lived together, saying she was the reason he kept living, crying and asking her to stay with him because he considered her his whole family. And the girl rejoiced at his words, opening the door again and hugging him. But when he touched her hand, his power worked, and he saw her past, knowing the psycho assistant finished off all her family and she was the only one left alive and could escape from him, trying to go to her relatives. But unfortunately, they all abandoned her, and she was forced to keep living in the streets until she met Young. And from that time, she was with him. And our hero was surprised by what he learned, and that she lived the same as he lived, feeling sorry for her and promising her he would protect her and not let anyone approach her. And suddenly someone knocked on them, and they thought it was the psycho. So Sarah went to open the door, but found her uncle, who rejoiced she was fine and yelled at her for going to the gang's hideout alone, blaming her that she exposed her life to danger, saying, "Even if you love Young, you should not do that." And Jenny was surprised by his words, asking her if you are dating, and Sarah got tense and felt embarrassed. So she fought with her uncle just to change the subject. But Young took him to talk and asked him why he was afraid for her, even though she was strong and could defend herself. And at that time, her uncle told him that her father and mother died when she was small and entrusted me to take care of her. And from that time, I decided to protect her, to fulfill their will, asking him to convince her to return with him to the house. And Young was moved. Young was moved by his words and confirmed he was a kind person, worried about her, so he agreed, took Sarah and the child, and went to stay at his house. But when they dead arrived, they found he prepared a room for them to get married and live in. So Sarah told him, "God shame you, you exposed me in front of him, what do I do now?" And she went to hit him, just like that. And at that time, the gang leader went to his hideout, trying to absorb the energy of the stones. And magical. But he was surprised they were empty, knowing someone betrayed him and absorbed their energy. So he went to ask his assistant, telling him what happened, saying that Young was the one who did that. And the leader got angry because he became stronger than before, and he decided to let another one from the gang arrest him. And the assistant got upset, asking him to give him a second chance. But the leader refused and insisted on his decision. And at night, Jenny and Sarah sat together for a girls' talk, and each one of them confessed she admired Young, and they tried to get close to him, but he fell asleep from exhaustion. And the next day, when they woke up, they felt embarrassed by what happened and went to have breakfast with Sarah's uncle while they were shy, but he kept throwing hints at them, and they got angry and were about to hit him. And after that, Young asked him to train him to increase his power, and Sarah's uncle agreed, taking him with him and giving him advice to develop his abilities. And our hero tried to do so, but could not control it, and Sarah's uncle kept provoking him and slapping him on the face to focus. So Young got angry and used all his power, succeeding in blocking his attack and paralyzing his movement. And Sarah's uncle admired his personality, but informed him he was still weak, and to be able to defeat the gang leader, he had to train more until he reached the same power as his father. And Young was surprised that he was helping him and asked him about the reason. And Sarah's uncle told him that he had a son resembling him, but unfortunately he died. And he also told him, "I suspect the gang leader was the one who killed Sarah's father, but I have no proof, so I want you to help me," asking him not to tell Sarah anything because she was reckless and might expose her life to danger if she knew. And Young reassured him and promised him he would do so. And at that time, the gang leader went to meet the super criminal, whom he would ask to arrest Young. And the psycho went with him to know who this was, asking him about the ability of the super criminal and if he was strong. strong, and the leader laughed, informing him he was fast and could control time. And the psycho did not believe his words. But suddenly, the super criminal arrived and kept laughing and mocking him because he was weak. And the psycho got angry, trying to hit him, but the super one used his speed, defeating him and knocking him to the ground in less than a second. And the leader admired his power, telling him the mission he wanted him to execute, asking him to arrest Young, but on the condition of leaving him alive. And the super one promised him he would do so, asking him about his location, knowing he was at Sarah's uncle's place, and decided to go there quickly. And at that time, Young was training in the forest, trying to increase his power, imagining his father in front of him and remembering his words to him, promising him he would avenge him on the gang leader. And he succeeded in releasing great magical energy, and the energy was stronger than before. But when he returned to the house, he was surprised that all the guards were fallen on the ground, knowing the gang did that. And we see Sarah's uncle at that time fighting the super criminal, but he used his power, stopping time, paralyzing his movement, laughing and telling him that his end was near, deciding to torture him before finishing him off, holding a knife and inflicting dangerous injuries on him, leaving him fallen on the ground, deciding to go to Young. And our hero was surprised when he saw him trying to use his ability, but the super one was faster than him, avoiding all his attacks, wounding him in his legs so he fell to the ground, to be able to kidnap him. And Jenny and Sarah arrived trying to hit him, but he stopped time, paralyzing their movement, and arrested them too, tying the three of them by their hands, deciding to torture them before finishing them off, asking Young whom to start with first. And Young collapsed, telling him that they were innocent. Do to me what you want, just leave them. And the criminal agreed, holding the knife and stabbing him in his leg so he could not move again, thinking that he would scream from pain and beg him to forgive him. But he was shocked that he was laughing, and suddenly Young appeared from behind him, and we learned that all this was an illusion he created from the start, hitting him on his head, kidnapping him and tying him by his hands and feet. And the criminal was shocked, asking him how he did all this, and he told him that you were betrayed, and the assistant came of the leader, the psycho, to me to warn me about you. And he also informed me that your ability was controlling time, so I used my power and set an ambush for you, able to arrest you. And the criminal was dazzled by his intelligence and cried, asking him to forgive him. But Young laughed and decided to torture him first, to take revenge on him and make him regret trying to approach him, making Jenny and Sarah watch him. And he attached to him an IV solution to force him to stay alive and feel everything he would do to him, putting a mark on the part he would take from his body, and started torturing him. But the criminal got scared and collapsed from crying, and decided to tell him a dangerous secret, telling him that Jenny's father and Sarah's father helped the gang leader finish off his father. Our hero heard the sentence right there, and at that time thought he was lying, so he decided to use his power to read his thoughts, seeing a flashback from 20 years ago. And he learned that the gang leader held a meeting for all the famous families to talk to his father, and they asked him to help them find the magic stones to use them to increase their power and control the world. And of course, our hero's father refused because he did not want anyone to get hurt because of him, and he left them and walked away. And at that time, the gang leader got angry and decided to finish him off. And the families were forced to help, including Jenny's father and Sarah's father. And we returned to the present, and Young was shocked by what he learned, and Sarah went to ask her uncle, threatening him with a weapon to tell her the truth. He informed her that he was traveling at that time and was not to blame. And at the same time, Jenny learned that her mother and father died, and her maid was the one who raised her. And she asked her why she hid the truth and a secret like that from her. So her mother apologized to her, telling her, "No, I am indeed your maid, but I raised you like my daughter and considered you my mother. I did not want to break your heart." And she cried, informing her that if time went back, she would do it again and raise her. After that, she bid her farewell and left her. But Jenny went after her and hugged her, telling her that she did not forgive her because she had no one else but her. And at that time, Young decided to take revenge on the gang leader, because he was the reason for everything that happened. And he invited the child to a restaurant, bringing her the food she loved, telling her to wait for him, and he bid her farewell and walked away, calling the orphanage, asking them to take her because this was the farewell between them. And after that, he went to the gang's hideout as he went, not knowing if he would return or not. And the leader waited for him, and as soon as he saw him, he told him, "Finally the day came that I was waiting for a long time, knowing he would take revenge on him for all he did to his family." And he used his supernatural power, preparing to fight him with all his strength. And at that time, Sarah decided to gather all the guards to go help him, but her uncle feared for her and locked her in the house, asking the guards to prevent her from going out, apologizing to her and telling her he was doing this for her own good, deciding to help Young himself, and in the other direction, Jenny's mother also. Locked her in the house and decided to go fight the gang leader herself to save Young. And the two gathered in front of the gang's headquarters, deciding to cooperate together to defeat the gang leader and make him pay the price for his crimes. And we see Young fallen on the ground, and the leader laughed, telling him that his end was near and it seemed he could not defeat him, preparing to finish him off. But he heard a sound outside and learned that Jenny's mother and Sarah's uncle were killing his guards, so he decided to finish them off first. And Young tried to go after him but could not bear the pain and fainted. And at that time he dreamed of his father and mother standing in front of him, reassuring him that they would always remain by his side, encouraging him and asking him to absorb their energy, bidding him farewell and disappearing. And Young kept calling out to them, and suddenly he woke up from sleep, surprised that he now had great magical power, deciding to use it to defeat the gang leader. But unfortunately, the leader succeeded in defeating Jenny's mother and Sarah's uncle, putting his hand on their heads to absorb their magical energy, thinking he had already won. But suddenly his psycho assistant appeared from behind him, betraying him and stabbing him in his back, laughing and saying, "I was waiting for this opportunity for a long time," putting his hand on his head and absorbing all his energy, finishing him off and acquiring unnatural power, thinking he would be able to control the world. But our son Young appeared from behind him and decided to stop him, and the psycho tried to attack him. Poor guy, thinking he was a soft young man, not knowing that our friend was a ruthless monster. And our hero used his supernatural power that he was able to acquire by absorbing his parents' energy, lifting him into the air, controlling his mind, absorbing all his magical energy, and making him see nightmares from his past until he collapsed. And Young succeeded in winning the fight in his favor, handing him over to the police, who put him in prison to pay the price for the crimes he committed. And thus our hero was able to restore his right and eliminated all gang members and also the leader, deciding to take the girl from the orphanage and live with her in peace. And Jenny and Sarah went to them to check on them and also to live with them if the atmosphere was nice, and our hero decided to choose one of them to marry. And I wonder, dear viewer, whom you will choose, Sarah or Jenny? I myself, dear viewer, will not tell you. I will keep it a secret between me and you. You tell me in the comments. Best regards to you, and goodbye.